Yes, welcome to our income tax class. In this class, we are going to solve problem number 32. This problem is taken from Gaur and Naran. And this problem is solved based on old tax regime. In income tax for your batch, you please mind it. The problems based on the question we have to solve as per old tax regime or as per new tax regime. But in this case, in this problem, it is given in the question as new tax regime. But since I have not taken that new tax regime for you, so I solved as it is old tax regime. Tomorrow or the next problem will be solved on new tax regime. Okay. First take problem number 32. This problem, first one, salary 7,20,000. It is taken. Then DA not enters. Please mind that if it is given as specifically not enters, then we have to take that amount as usual. We should take it for the total salary statement, but that should not be the part of calculations. That is rent free accommodation, RPF, etc. Okay, then next one is bonus. That amount of bonus is 72,000. What is the condition given for the bonus? Nothing as stated. If it is given as bonus gratuitous, then we should not take that gratuitous bonus for calculations, whereas nothing as stated in this question. So that bonus is treated as it is. We have to take that bonus 72,000 in the main part of the question, right? Then we will come back to the calculations, that is the working notes. Then arrear of bonus, that means previous period it is arrear, now it is received. So whatever the things, if the amount is taxable based on the receipt basis or due basis. In this case, previous arrear, now it is received, so it is considered. Previously it was not taxed, now it is taxable since this year that amount is received. Then another one is commission on profit. This is also taxable for main part of the statement. Mind it, specifically given commission on turnover. So this is taxable for main part of the answer, considered in main part of the answer. Whereas if it is given as commission for turnover, then we should take that commission on turnover for some other calculations, that is rent free accommodation, etc. Okay, then advance salary received. Next period salary, now itself it is received. See, previous salary, if it is arrear, now received, taxable. And next period salary, now itself it is received in advance, that is also taxable. Okay. Contribution to RPF. RPF is taxable, but however you can claim the deduction. Okay, that amount of RPF, see total amount of RPF, what is the amount given? So based on that it is taxable. RPF is in excess of 12% is taxable. So we have to take that amount of RPF is in excess of 12% is taxable. I have showed the workings separately. Basic salary is taken, DA is taken, commission is not given, DA not given. So total amount of salary for the RPF, that comes to 7,20,000. On that 14% is taxable. Okay, that comes to 1,08,000 rupees. It is taxable, but you can claim the exemption. Up to what extent you can claim the exemption? That the exemption amount is 12% of the salary. So I made a mistake just to test whether you are continuously watching or not. For that purpose I made voluntarily I made one small mistake. See, total 1,08,000. That amount is, exemption is 86,400. So taxable value of RPF is 14,400. It is clearly shown in the working note. Then professional tax. I made one asterisk mark on professional tax. I will tell you later. That amount of professional tax, it is paid by the employer. What does it mean? Any amount of professional tax or income tax paid by the employer is taxable as perquisite. Your obligation backed by employer is taxable. However, for this professional tax, for this professional tax, first it should be taken as taxable income because your employer is paying the amount on behalf of you. So first it is taxable. Later on, that is eligible for claiming the deduction under section 16(3). Okay. Then another one is professional tax that I have explained now. Then income tax paid by the company. Your income tax paid by your employer 15,000 rupees per month. So total amount of income tax 1,80,000. It is taxable. Okay. So that amount of income tax paid by your employer is also taxable. You cannot say I have not paid, my employer has paid. But your commitment, your obligation is backed by your employer, so it is taxable in your head only. Then electricity bill paid by the employer 8,000 rupees. Car perquisites. This is another one important condition you must remember. That amount of car perquisite is given as 1.8 liter car, big type car is given. What the rule says, any big type car is given, that amount of taxability is 2000 rupees, 2400 rupees is taxable. Whereas small type car is provided, then we have to take 1800 rupees. Okay, in this case it is specifically given car perquisite capacity is 1.8 liter, so it is big type car to 28,000, 2400 rupees per month, 28,800 rupees is taxable. Also please note it down, you are not given with the driver salary, so that is not stated in the answer sheet. Then another one is education expenses met by the employer. Previously we discussed the education expenses allowances in the form of allowances. It is taxable, however you can claim the exemption 100 rupees per month per child to the maximum of 2 children. That is the condition. Whereas in this case it is very specifically given education expenses met by the employer is 40,000. So it is a type of a perquisite, it is taxable. Okay. Then another point, rent free accommodation. You are given with a bungalow is provided in the place Kolkata. Okay. The place is given as a Kolkata. It is a bungalow. Since the name of the place is given specifically mentioned Kolkata, it has more than 40 lakh population. So our condition what it says, that amount of rent free accommodation is taxable if the population level is more than 40 lakhs. What the population of Kolkata? It is more than, it is assumed it is more than 40 lakh based on the census of 2011. Okay. So accordingly we are taking. So what we have to take for rent free accommodation salary for RFA? Basic salary, what the amount of basic we are having. Bonus, what we are given with bonus, that should be considered. Commission, whatever it may be, that amount of commission we should take. Then total amount of salary we have to take 8,76,000. Please note it down. For DA not enters, specifically it is given. So DA we have to take, it should not be considered. We have to ignore that only for the calculations. DA we should take for the total salary statement, but for working note we should not take the DA. Calculations we should not take DA. So the total amount of a salary for rent free accommodation is, that comes to 8,76,000. That accommodation is owned by the employer and also the place where the accommodation is provided is above 40 lakhs. So what we should do, that amount of 8 lakh 76,000 into 10%. So that amount comes to 87,700, I think. Yes, correct, 87,700. And also we are given with one point, furniture is provided. If the specification of a furniture is provided, then we have to take what is the furnished accommodation. We should calculate that also. So for furniture, what is the condition given for the furniture? Furniture is provided with a cost of 4,50,000. So we have to take, in case of, see, you are all well aware that what is the condition for furnished accommodation? What is the condition? You just go through the condition, correlate the conditions also. What is the condition for furniture? In case of a hired furniture, actual hire charges. In case of actual owned by the furniture employer, then furniture cost at 10%. In this case, it is owned by the employer, so we have to take 10% on the cost. That comes to 45,000. So what is the total furnished accommodation? Have a look on that working note. 87,600 plus furniture 10%. So 1,32,600. Okay. And moreover, you should also keep in mind, no need to adjust that depreciation or other conditions given related to the accommodation. Those things are immaterial. Likewise for car also, the other informations are immaterial. We have to see for the accommodation only owned by the employer or not owned by the employer, hired by the employer. If it is owned by the employer, where the accommodation is provided, furniture, any such things are given or not, that we have to see. Like that for car perquisite, here it is given as 1.8 liter capacity car. So wear and tear and depreciation of the car, how much expenses you are incurring, those things are immaterial. That car is given, you are using the car for both official and personal purpose. It is 1.8 liter capacity car. Okay, accordingly we have to take. So the total amount of a gross salary, that comes to 15 lakhs, 15 lakhs 10,200 minus deductions, that amount of a deduction, that comes to 50,000. Okay, and another one is professional tax 2,000. These two things you have to consider. So 15 lakh 10,200 minus 52,000, then your value, that comes to 14 lakhs 58,200. But if you refer that question, they solved the problem under new tax regime. What does it mean? For new tax regime, certain allowances are not eligible. Certain allowances are taxable. You cannot claim the exemption. And point number 2, for professional tax, section 16(3), professional tax cannot be claimed. And another one is section 16(1), standard deduction, total amount of deduction, that comes to 75,000. These things you should keep in mind if it is new tax regime, whereas we solved the problem on old tax regime. And you please have a look on that problem, that main part of a salary statement, and also the working note. Okay, you please solve the related type of problems.